Sasaengs. Obsessive. Psychotic. Stalkers. Sasaengs are not an uncommon or even an unfamiliar term in K-pop. Many of us have even gotten the unfortunate pleasure of accidentally meeting one. For those of you who may not be familiar with the term, a Sasaeng is essentially a deranged lowlife who stalks K-pop idols in their private life. In other words, these people are just creeps who don't have anything better to do with their time, but creep on a person who doesn't even know them outside of a courtroom. So let's dive into this further. From the beginning of any pop culture singer, there's always a stan who takes it too far. Even in Western media, there's always someone who's labeled as an artist stalker or a stan, which is stalker fan. Crazy that I just learned that. But anyways, these people basically take it too far. They don't know when to stop. Yet when we look at K-pop, these people are referred to as Sasaengs. And as I said before, Sasaengs is a slang term for obsessive fans who invade the privacy of Korean idols or any public figure. These people go to great lengths to get closer to their favorite stars, and I mean extreme lengths. They're known for their intrusive and often dangerous behavior towards their ideal obsession, if you will. I don't like saying it like that, but it's kind of the way that it needs to be put. Many a times this includes breaking into homes, stealing belongings, stalking, and a lot of times this includes it is unreal how much goes on with Sasaengs. A lot of them do strange rituals where they're actively themselves for an idol's attention. There's multiple cases that I wish I could show, but YouTube would take this down, so I'll put up different articles for y'all. Of course, these individuals didn't come out of the blue, so to give a little bit of history, this has been going on for years, since the early 90s and probably before that. In the early days, these people would wait outside of dorms and follow them around their personal and work schedules just to see what they were doing and who they were talking to. Nowadays, with social media, it has become a lot easier for them to grow bolder and more extreme in their actions. Nothing is off the table for these people. With that being said, being able to get information is important for these idiots. They go as far as hacking into systems they have, paying people on the inside to provide them with information, and even just an extreme version of stalking. Nothing, and I genuinely mean nothing, will stop these people from getting their hands on the information they want, as they think that they deserve a chance to speak with these idols or even just be near them in their presence. Of course, this is a problem, but unfortunately this comes from a while back when such activities were encouraged and even seen as harmless for them to follow these idols around. In the early 90s, this was encouraged. Not only did this help promote the group, it also gave them a chance to build a fandom in the worst possible way imaginable, as the how dare they stalk them, when for so long it was promoted as a way to get the group publicity and all this nonsense. So why would you even allow that in the first place? It's stupid. Anyway, let's talk about how these people really get their information. As I mentioned before, in the digital age, if you will, it's where we are. So I mean, any information is super easy to obtain, especially if you know what you're doing. However, Sasaengs are not a small group of people. Rather, it's a circuit of people, and it's constantly growing and changing in different types of stuff. These people in the circuit are willing to do anything for extra cash, or they're willing to do anything for information on their obsession. People who may work in mobile phone companies, airports, and even the same building as the artists themselves are in this list of selling information for the right price. Nobody's off the table when it comes to this group of people. Typically, you'll hear about those who have money and are able to continue their stalking overseas. Like, typically they'll grab flight information and then move across seas in order to be next to them. This happens very often. A lot of Sasaengs are typically wealthy. They come from a wealthy background and will do their absolute best to travel wherever these artists go. And I'm sure many of you have heard of the No Pants girl who tried to act like she was a BTS member at the time. If not, I'll show this clip. This is one of the many people who are used as a prime example of Sasaengs. She's not alone in trying to be the only one in the public eye, as a blonde-haired female would follow around NCT during their mini trips around Europe. Like, she's seen in the background of a lot of different clips, people's clips that are just passing by, etc. The crazy part about all of this is sometimes these people try to stay just out of camera shot, so it's not so obvious, but it seems to backfire every time. Now that we've seen how they grab information, let's look at how they act when they're stalking artists. Over the years, Sasaeng behavior has only gotten worse. first. In the beginning, it started with fans camping outside of their dorms, houses, or hotels, but has quickly escalated, and I mean like extraordinarily escalated so fast, to kidnapping, attempted murder, death threats. There's thousands of incidents. If you type in Sasaeng into Google, there's many articles that pop up about just crazy, insane incidents. But to name a few of the smaller ones, you have EXO, where a fan dressed up as a man to enter the bathroom with them just to have a conversation. You also have the time someone managed to come on stage during a performance, a live performance, and try to kidnap one of the members of Girls' Generation, and I don't even understand how the fuck he got up there. And to think that this is minor compared to some of the other ones is absolutely insane. A member from 2PM got a letter that was written in period blood and had pubic hair inside of it. It makes you wonder. Or, better yet, the time Vix was actually kidnapped by a president's daughter just so they could take pictures with them. For shits and giggles, let's even talk about how someone blew an orange juice and gave it to a member of TVQX. Nothing is off the table for people who are this deranged or this far gone. Pushing forward, there's that time when some artists were injured due to being chased both on foot or in cars. There are countless blurry images of idols running away from people because they're being followed. A more serious case of this would be when Super Junior's 𝘴𝘰𝘤𝘪𝘢𝘴 broke his leg due to being tailed by a Sasaeng in a car accident. And to think that this is, again, one of those incidents that was just brushed off is insane to me. It's ridiculous how many stories there are and how well it's covered in media, because it feels like it's almost encouraged at this point. Not only is plain stupid, but it just makes you think that what hasn't somebody shared? What hasn't been seen outside of a camera or people just in general? Sasaengs are dangerous, and unfortunately their behavior is encouraged by most medias. Both YouTube, TikTok, Korean media, etc. Countless TikToks, for instance, are showing information that they've gathered illegally and spreading it like wildfire. Or even people who may not even be K-pop artists. Just anybody is just completely ridiculous that we would spread this information around. In conclusion here, here's my final say. These sick individuals should face real prison time. Stalking people is one thing, and I say that very, very lightly. But chasing them down, poisoning them, sending them death threats, and the list unfortunately continues, is beyond something that should be brushed off so casually by media. It amazes me how stories you hear about this and yet nothing is ever done for it. The government should do better if they insist on creating parasocial relationships with idols, and they should at the very least protect them from such harm. And it's sickening. I hope that the idols that are involved throughout these shenanigans are actually seeking out therapy and other ways to be protected, because it's insane that they can't even feel safe in their own house. And with that being said, I hope they go underneath the prison, honestly. Have you guys ever met a Sasaeng? What was that like? Leave your comments down below, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye. Angel boy, don't say that. Never gonna stand a chance. Heartbreak like a sad romance. Said that you never come back again. Been through